In our first story, the Pro-Vice-Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast is urging government to engage parents to support efforts to resolve quality issues surrounding the implementation of the free senior high school education policy, instead of providing just budgetary support for the initiative. He explains that many parents are hiding behind free education to check their commitment to their children's education, a situation he believes will not help in the successful implementation of the free senior high school policy. Kwejonyako has more.
Barely a week ago, the Parent-Teacher Association of Adesador College expressed its frustration over the attitude of some parents who do not want to contribute to the development of the school under the guise of the free senior high school education. Speaking at the speech and prize-giving day of Obriyabua Senior High School, the Pro-Vice-Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Professor George Odro, reminded parents of their responsibilities under the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. He says government interventions are only introduced to offer a support to parents and not to replace the responsibilities parents have towards the education of their wards.
But the impact of the Ministry of Education's efforts cannot be maximized if parents hide behind the provision of free education to check their commitment towards their children's education. While through prioritized budgetary management, it may be possible for government to single-handedly manage the cost of expanded access to school education, I am of the strongest opinion that it is impossible for government to single-handedly bear the cost of providing quality education for all children at all levels of our pre-tertiary levels in this era of fee-free education. Permit me to remind parents who may be hiding behind the free SHS initiative to check their fundamental parental responsibilities that the 1992 Constitution obliges parents to play a vital role towards their children's growth and development.
Acting Vice-Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, Reverend Father Professor Anthony Afubroni, expressed his disappointment in some fathers who abandon their children and leave all the parental responsibilities on only their women. He says the practice has gained notoriety in many Ghanaian societies and needs to change to help the children grow very well.
Such exemplary stories notwithstanding, we are also not unmindful of some parents, especially fathers, who erroneously think that because of the matrilineal system, especially in this part of the nation where we are, their children would only take care of their mothers. And they will say something like, "Oh yeah, or they call him Amiabusiemu." And so they will abandon these children to their own destiny and cause the poor mothers undue hardships. As you know, these fathers are strangely able to spend extra money on marrying other wives. And only God knows what they will do with the children, of paying heavily at funerals and in litigations.
Richard Kwejonyako, JoyNews, Asinfosu.
Meanwhile, the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has called for support of all Ghanaians to make the free senior high school policy successful. Speaking at the 65th speech and prize-giving day of the 7th-day Adventist Senior High School in Bakwai, Ashanti, the President said beneficiaries of the policy are not only new Patriotic Party members or sympathizers, but rather everyone for the achievement of excellence in education. He noted that prior to the launch of the policy in September 2017, data indicated high dropout at every stage of the educational system, a situation he said was totally unacceptable, but assured of his government's determination to end the current spate. President Akufo-Addo said government has begun the distribution of some 69,500 mono decks, 13,100 bunk beds, furniture for dining halls, staff rooms of teachers, computer laboratories and marker boards for classrooms to some schools as part of efforts to deal with current challenges being experienced. Still on education, inadequate infrastructure is compelling authorities at the Garden City Special School in the Ashanti region to restrict admission. The headmistress of the school, Dr. Rosalind Frimpong Ejapong, says a number of applicants have had to be turned away. Love FM's Kusidebra now reports.
3 bunk beds stuck to each other at the risk of children's health. But school authorities say they are helpless. Enrollment currently stands at 169, made up of 107 males and 54 females. Authorities are unable to absorb more in the face of mounting pressure from parents.
We have just 2 rooms for the girls, and as at now, the rooms are full.
Established in 1977, Garden City Special School, initially located at Adiababa, was moved to Asokore Mampong 21 years later. The only segregated basic school in the Ashanti region receives students from the Brahafo, Eastern, Northern and Western regions. Dr. Frimpong Ejapong, however, says females who wish to be day students would be considered.
For this next academic year, we might not admit girls into the boarding system, but we might admit them as day students. In other words, anyone that's coming outside, from outside Kumasi, might not get the admission she requires. Yeah, but for the boys, we have space. We don't have a problem. Yeah, so the problem is with the girls. And we are appealing we've made a report to the government, to Ghana Education Service. So we are appealing to philanthropists. We have land. If anybody wants to come and assist us to build more dormitories so as the girls can be admitted.
Meanwhile, the Relief Society of the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints, Asokwa, has donated assorted food items to the school. President Amelia Sampson says the gesture is part of the Society's 176th anniversary.
And we always do it in our church premises. But we find it that the theme of the anniversary is think of your brethren like unto yourself. That's why we think about it to come and celebrate it with special school.
For JoyNews, Kusidebra, Love FM, Kumasi.
In other news, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has announced that some 570 dams will be constructed in the northern and upper regions to kickstart the MPP administration's One Village, One Dam initiative this year. One of the campaign promises of the Akufo-Addo-led government. Not much has been seen since the power or the party assumed power. Well, the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, who was speaking on behalf of the President at the annual celebration of the festival of the people of Tumu in the region, said sword cutting for the dams will be done in the next few weeks. Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam has more.
It is a festival that brings people of the Sasala traditional area together to thank the gods for a bumper harvest and also unite the people for development. This year's was on the theme Parabole Festival, a vehicle for fostering good neighborliness to propel the socio-economic development of the area. Paramount Chief of the Tumu traditional area, Koro Richard Babini Canton da Safe, who also doubles as the President of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs, commended government for initiating policies which are impacting positively on the lives of the people. Among their concerns, though, is what he believed to be the neglect of the area's cotton potential. Home to the Tumu cotton ginnery, arguably the biggest ginnery in West Africa, and which used to provide thousands of direct and indirect jobs, Kuro Canton the Safe appealed to the government to revamp the now defunct factory, which has remained closed for several years.
The industry, if revamped, has great potentials of producing many other products apart from the ginning of the cotton, such as cotton seed oil extraction, yarn for cloth production, and almond feed preparation, and hence give employment opportunities to many youth.
The indiscriminate felling of trees, especially the rosewood species, is another major concern of the Forestry Commission.
I want to use this platform once more to draw your attention to the indiscriminate felling of rosewood and any tree on site by wood merchants led by Chinese nationals and heavily supported by we ourselves for selfish personal gains. We should be conscious of the fact that prosperity will not forgive us if we continue to cause this kind of devastation of the environment.
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who represented the president at the festival, responded to some of the concerns of the Tumukuru.
The Northern Savannah Ecological Zone is under the threat of losing its natural vegetation through illegal lumbering and bushfire. My attention has been drawn to the activities of timber merchants who have located to the Sisala East Municipal area and are seriously cutting rosewood for export. Government will take up this matter with the Forestry Commission to redress in order to stop the rapid degradation of the environment.
He then announced government will soon start the One Village, One Dam program, and 570 dams will be constructed in the northern and upper regions.
I am glad to note that this policy is taking off this year, and for the 3 northern regions this year, we expect the construction of a total of 570 dams. We expect to cut the sword for the commencement of this policy within a few weeks. And in the Sisala East District, you will be getting 10 dams this year, and in the Sisala West District, you will get 10 dams this year, by the grace of God.
Member of Parliament of the Sisala East constituency, Ridwan Abbas Dauda, noted that sustainable development is anchored on the existence of a peaceful environment and admonished the chiefs and people of the area to coexist peacefully in order for them to have rapid development. The festival was climaxed with the unusual chewing of the meat of a live dog. Awards were given to some distinguished personalities for the key roles they played in the development of the region. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam.
And down south, stop selling outside the ultra-modern Kotakraba market and use the stores allocated to you. You stand the risk of losing the stores that have been allocated to you by the Assembly. And that's the warning from the Metropolitan Chief Executive of Cape Coast, Ernest Arthur. The warning was given at the inauguration of a task force to decongest the city in a month. Richard Kojunyako has more.
In a move to decongest Cape Coast, especially the Central Business District, the Cape Coast Metro Assembly is warning traders who have been given market stores but are refusing to occupy the stores. Such traders are rather selling outside the ultramodern market built for the traders. The practice, according to the Assembly, has made the city congested with vehicles and humans competing for space. At the inauguration of a task force to deal with the situation, Metropolitan Chief Executive of Cape Coast, Ernest Arthur, warned traders who fail to move into the market but have chosen to sell outside the market risk ceding their market stores to others who didn't have.
Allocation has been completed, and all these traders, most of them, if I may say, have been allocated stores and stores, but yet they are still on the street, not willing to go and occupy their spaces. So we have come with a list of all those people. And in the past, we've been trying to move them into the market, but we've not been successful. So this idea of forming a task force is to carry on that activity, to make sure each and everybody allocated a shop or a stall moves to occupy the facility. If we get to a point where you've been allocated a store, yet you don't want to move, but want to stay on the street, then we will have to give the third person the opportunity, because I must admit that it is not everybody that was given allocation. So if you have been allocated and you don't want to move, we will have to give that opportunity to the person on standby.
According to Ernest Atta, the aim of the exercise is not only to decongest the ancient capital, but also make sure sanitary measures are put in place in the metropolis to reduce the potential risk of diseases outbreak as a result of filth. Central Regional Minister Kwame Nadankan, who graced the occasion, cautioned the task force against corruption and asked them to work diligently, attaching some level of human face to the operations. The task force has a month to finish its operations. Richard Kwajenyako, JoyNews, Cape Coast.
And before we go, let's talk about handshakes. And it's usually just a simple and socially accepted form of greeting, at least not only Ghana but other parts of the world. And many of us indeed, we do shake hands. But have you ever received a painful, bone-crushing handshake? Well, one person who can attest to that is the wife of former President John Rawlings, Nana Kudo Rawlings. And addressing cadres at a town hall meeting last Saturday, Mr. Rawlings accused the former Foreign Affairs Minister, Hannah Tete, of squeezing his wife's hand during a handshake at an Independence Anniversary parade. Well, watch this clip, courtesy JH1 TV.
The Foreign Minister, Hannah Tete Koda. O country Lord, I so friend no country no. Na Lord na country no say. Oh, old man. It is a assembly one jam ana. Again assembly. One time. In fact, twice. Sa woman no wa ye no champion jockey wa Congress meeting. First time no whether Tamale or ye Miri. Second time somewhere. Third time was 6 March as through honor. So no a foreign minister. Or some people woman name. Some guests, they came late. One more chia. Or chia me you know namiti, you know, from her throat. Later on, me besides that, not knowing. Me you know, samu ko namu chia. Big people or Mampeni for Debbie. Chiefs, big chiefs, Manchame. Na mu shwe mu humu kase mu be use sa chance am nia no tindia. Mu shwe se on share sa de no. Ring no. Because who try John obey you, who na uber ping. Aha. Nya nya chance a chia Manchame. Not knowing. Shami miyiri nuhunam ndoso. Ne mutete koda nu o shami yiri no mia